those rosters and check them twice. How's everybody doing? I'm Jay Elson, and this is Coyote Corner. With 10 new players, 7 of who are listed as either freshmen or sophomores, there is much to learn about Craig Smith's team. One thing that's been apparent to this point is that they can play. South Dakota shot out to its best start in the Division I era, winning 5 straight to open the season and 6 of 8 heading into last Wednesday's trip to UMKC. Yotes hoping to beat the Roos for a second straight season, but it was the home team that gained control around the midway point of the first half. Isaiah Ross, one of his 3 trays. Then it's Deshaun King, plus the foul, all part of a 20-4 run for UMKC. Yotes trailed by as many as 16, but they'd get a little back before the half. Brandon Armstrong hits the triple. Trey Dickerson hits one as well. Yotes down 45-33 at the half, and while things went much better in the second, it wasn't quite good enough. South Dakota actually had 4 chances to tie or take the lead in the final 15 seconds, but could not get those shots to fall, and the Coyotes dropped this one by a count of 84-82. Matt Mooney led the way in defeat with a season-high 23 points on 8 of 16 shooting. Dickerson added 15, while Tyler Flack recorded his second double-double of the season, finishing with 12 points and 11 boards. From there, it was on to Lincoln, where Craig Smith squared off with his former boss, South Dakota native Tim Miles, and his Nebraska Cornhuskers. Yotes ran into a bit of a buzzsaw early. Nebraska dialed in. Jack McVeigh for 3. Ty Webster connects as well. Huskers hit 4 of their first 5 attempts from outside, which helped them spread out to a 26-4 lead. South Dakota started to knock down some of their own after that, specifically Matt Mooney. 13 hits a couple of trays here. Coyotes outscored Nebraska 27-23 over the final 11.5 minutes to trim the deficit to 14 by the break. Things got much more interesting in the second. Trey Birch Manning, who missed his first 5 shots of the game, gets it going here. Bump and the bucket. 3-point play made it 56-45 Huskers. More from Red moments later. Up and over Isaiah Roby. Birch Manning finished with 7 points and 6 rebounds. The run didn't stop there, though. Mooney, nice finish in transition to cut it to 7. Timeout, Nebraska. More Yotes out of the break. Trey Dickerson steps back and pops the 3. 56-52. Then it's Mooney again. Look at him slice through the paint. Mooney led all scorers with 18. And the Yotes are within 2. That's as close as they would get. Webster with a big 3 here, his 3rd of the day. He finished with 12. Moments later, McVeigh on the run. Gets it to drop. Team high 16 for him, and Nebraska hangs on to beat South Dakota 73-61. The second straight loss for the Coyotes, and it's their 4th in the last 5 games.
The biggest takeaway is we just got to come off to better starts. You know, we can't come off scared. We can play with anybody. And it doesn't matter how big they are, what conference they're in, we can play with anybody, and we just got to come out better because, I mean, we came almost all the way back, and if we didn't get off to that bad start, who knows what would have happened.
Well, Craig Smith expected it to take some time for this team to come together, so are they as far along as he hoped they'd be at this point? We'll ask him right after this.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Dakota Land Honda, and your Core Trust Bank.
Oh, is it up and down first month for the USD men? But that's to be expected when you've got basically a brand new team. And joining us now to talk about that team, a guy that's in charge of that squad, head coach Craig Smith. And Craig, it's been pretty well documented, 10 new guys on this roster. What's the biggest challenge in dealing with that much turnover?
Just youth and inexperience, right? 15 guys in our program, 10 are freshmen and sophomores, and then you have 10 newly eligible players and 7 brand new. It's a whole new language. It's a whole new style of play. It's the first time they've all played together. And so there's going to be some ups and downs, and we got to make sure there's more ups than downs.
So what's your favorite thing about this group?
I just really like our group of guys. They want to be good. They want to represent our university the right way. They want to play hard and have a tough mindset. And they get along so well together. It's easy to see their chemistry off the floor. They want to play unselfish basketball and tough-nosed basketball, and that's very rewarding to see as a coach.
Well, last week provided a pretty big test for that group. A couple of tough road games. First came Wednesday against UMKC. Big first half for the Roos, highlighted by that 20-4 run.
Yeah, that was our worst half of basketball up until that point. We didn't have that vigor. We didn't have that mindset to come out and get in attack mode, and we had a pretty good talking to them at halftime, and I thought our second half might have been our best basketball of the year, and we put ourselves in a great position to win the game. And when we've been in those positions all year, we've won those games, and that was the first time we kind of let a great opportunity slip away. We missed some free throws late in the game, missed a couple wide open shots, and then fell asleep in particular on one possession defensively that allowed them to go ahead for good.
Saturday had a little bit more meaning to you personally. You got the chance to take on your friend and former boss, Tim Miles, in the University of Nebraska. What was that opportunity like for you?
Friend?
Yeah, well,
sure
I'm pretty
that?
sure.
Yeah.
Based on that press conference.
He is a great friend of mine. He's my mentor. I owe so much to him personally and professionally. He's a great man, and we were very fortunate that he let us play them. It was great for our program. We have 4 Nebraska guys on our team, and I think that's a dream come true for those guys to go to University of Nebraska and play there. You know, that game was, I wish I told somebody I was coaching hard the first 8 minutes, and we got down 26-4, and then I started coaching him again with about 2.5 to go, and we couldn't score again. But, you know, you play in front of 15,000 people in a Big Ten venue, and that's the first time most of our guys have ever went through that experience. And I thought we showed up, we had stage fright. We played tentative and nervous, and for a long time it looked like they never dribbled the ball, shot a ball, passed the ball, played defense before. When you throw that all together, it's 26-4. But I'll tell you, the last 32 minutes, I was very proud of our effort, tenacity, and the way we played together.
So what changed? I mean, because you go into the half, you're down about 14, and you close it within 2 in that second half. So what was the biggest difference?
Yeah, you know, to go into down 14 at half, I was very pleased because it felt like we should have been down by 35, and it felt like we played with some worry and doubt. And once we got past all that and like understanding we can't play any worse, we certainly helped our guys out by pressing more to get them on attack. We changed up our defenses from some full court pressure to zone full court pressure, and then mixing in man and zone. And I thought it kind of got them on their heels a little bit and allowed us to get downhill. The second half, we really hurt them in transition. We really got to the rim. Unfortunately, we missed 22 shots at the rim for the game, and that was the difference.
Matt Mooney is one of those new guys that we kind of hit on a little bit earlier. And there was times Saturday he looked like the best player on the floor.
He had a good groove to him on Saturday, and he had a great look to him. He was just very aggressive, had a great mindset to him, was defending very well, and saw the ball go through the hole a couple times early. And when he kind of gets that feel to him, he can really get it rolling.
Well, Mooney contributed in a big way to that second half rally. Trey Dickerson did as well. It seems like Trey is really maybe getting a little bit more comfortable as each day goes by.
Yeah, I feel like he's definitely settling in now, and he's a ball-in-hand guard. He likes the ball in his hand, and it's a fine line. We got to do some things to help get him the ball in his hands, but we play motion style of play, and to be a motion player, you have to be a player. You have to be able to move without the ball and make others better and understand driving closeouts. And he used to always catch it and hold it. Now he's learning to play within our system and doing a much better job.
Trey Birch-Manning, the other Trey, started off real strong for you. He reached double figures 5 of your first 6 games, but he's done that now just once in the last 4. So what's changed for him?
Well, Jay, first of all, you know we really love Treys and Tylers in our programs. So Trey Birch-Manning, nicknamed Red, had a great start to the year. He and I had a great meeting last week. And, you know, it's been tougher for him. He's a bit more of a marked man now. Sure. You know, early in the year, nobody knew who he was. And now he's the center of every scouting report. And so we have to help Trey get some things going on the offensive end. He's got to help himself, too, staying out of foul trouble. Foul trouble has been an issue for him, and that's kept him off the floor some. And he's going to get there, though. He's a playmaking power forward. And we just got to help him get in the right position. But Trey's got a very bright future for us.
All right, well, looking forward to seeing Trey and the rest of these new guys develop all season long. Thanks again, as always, for your thoughts. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good, Jay. Thank you.
All right, well, the Coyote women off to a strong start as well this season. We're going to take you through their latest highlights when we come back. Well, like the men, the new-look South Dakota women have gotten off to a solid start this season, which included a 3-1 mark on their recent 4-game, 4,500-mile road trip that took them from Arkansas to Tulsa and finally California. Wednesday, the Coyotes look to keep things rolling as they returned home for a date against Division II Concordia St. Paul. Just the second game inside the Sanford Coyote Sports Center for the USD women to this point. They look pretty comfortable early on. J.C. Bradley hits from deep, and USD is up 5-2. Next possession, it's the Arens connection. Bridget grabs the board, then dishes to Allison for the deuce, and the Yotes are up 7. Second quarter now. Here come the Golden Bears. Lindsay Dorr finds Lauren Shiflett on the textbook give and go. Concordia put up 24 points in that frame and trailed by just 5 at the half. Bears still battling in the third. Kyra Friedenberg gets the putback to go. She had 7 rebounds on the night. Coyotes would take over from there, though. Allison Arens with the spin and the left-handed finish. Game high 23 for her, already her 5th 20-point effort of the season. Arens followed up by freshman Kiera Duffy, one of her 6 threes here. She statted a career high of 21, and the Yotes pull away to win this one handily, 83-58. Well, the homestand was a short one. Lady Yotes back on the road Sunday at Wyoming. Allison Arens doing her thing once again, never afraid to attack the rim. South Dakota up 2 after 1. They led most of the second as well, but the Cowgirls got hot to close the half. 8-2 run put them up 26-23 at the break. Fast forward to the fourth now. Things still far from settled. Marta Gomez knocks down her 4th tray of the day to put Wyoming up 4. Back come the Yotes, though. Arens showing off her range now, currently shooting 52% from the perimeter. Kiera Duffy not that accurate, but she's still not afraid to pull the trigger. 3 of her 11 here. Yotes led by as many as 5 in the fourth quarter. Cowgirls, though, come riding back again. Liv Roberts plus the foul. Wyoming scored 7 of the final 9 points to force overtime. And momentum stayed with them the rest of the way. Cowgirls outscore USD 17-10 in that extra session, and they hand the Yotes just their 2nd loss of the season by a score of 69-62. Well, the Coyotes playing a slightly different brand of basketball under Don Plitzelweit. We'll talk philosophy and more with South Dakota's first-year head coach next. The South Dakota women are off to a 6-2 start this season, and here now to talk about how things have gotten to this point, making her much anticipated Coyote Corner debut as head coach of USD, Don Plitzelweit. And Don, we'll get into some of the more recent happenings here in a bit, but let's start with some basics. Anytime a new coach comes in, of course, they bring in their own system. So how does yours differ from that of what the Coyote fans had gotten used to over the past 4 years?
Well, I think the biggest difference probably is on the offensive end of things, where we try to space the floor and really attack in a lot of different ways. So you'll see our post players posting up, you'll see our point guards posting up, and everyone in between. You'll see our perimeter kids attacking from the perimeter. You see our post kids attacking from the perimeter. So in an ideal setting for us, all of our kids are able and are willing to score in all areas of the offense for us.
What's your preferred method defensively? Do you have one?
We do. Yeah, we really like to be a solid defensive team. And I think for us, what we're seeing really this year is that teams are shooting the ball very well against us, whether that's because they're really excited to play against the reigning WNIT champs, whether it's because we're not doing a good job closing out. We're doing a much better job. We've gotten better defensively in the last 3 or 4 games. And that, so it's kind of a push and pull. We were really good offensively, but we struggled defensively in our man. We've kind of found a way with some of the zones that we've played. Okay. But now our man has gotten a lot better.
All right, well, the other obvious change obviously involves the roster that you're working with. There's a handful of holdovers from that WNIT championship team, but the majority of your players are wearing a South Dakota uniform for the first time. How are things coming together right now from a personnel standpoint? Are things gelling as quickly as you had hoped?
Well, I think they're gelling probably quicker than we had hoped in a lot of ways. Our kids are really doing a great job. They're playing with great intensity, great resiliency. They're playing with confidence. It's really fun to watch them. But going into the first game of the season, I realized as we were getting ready to break the huddle that we had a combined 5 starts starting in that game. Bridget Arens had 4 of them in her career, and Abigail Fogg had 1 earlier. So we're a pretty new season team, but our kids are getting a lot of minutes right now and becoming more veteran each game.
And they're having to do that partially because you're injury situation. So is good or bad?
Well, it's a good thing for our future. Certainly, we've got 4 perimeter kids that are logging a lot of minutes. I'm sure we'll talk about them a little bit later. 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores. But we have to do that because Caitlin Duffy and Jasmine Trimboli, who we really counted on to play a great deal for us this year and be our leaders on the court, haven't been able to suit up and play in games yet because of their injuries.
Now, from an individual standpoint, you kind of hit on it. One player that's really stood out has been Allison Arens, a sophomore point guard from Crofton, Nebraska, has scored at least 15 points in each of your first 8 games. She's put in 20 at least 5 times already, all while shooting about 56%. That's pretty good.
We're asking a lot out of Allison right now. We are.
I mean, and that's a huge change from
Right.
what fans saw out of her a year ago. So what's the secret there?
Well, I think we're learning how, and we learned this summer. We were fortunate enough to practice with our kids this summer, go play in 3 games in Australia, and we watched where Allison was really comfortable and tried to put her in those type of situations, as with all of our kids. And I think she's a player who, when you give her some space and allow her to create, she can do some pretty special things. And so I think that really the things that we're doing with her right now obviously suit her pretty well.
It's not just scoring. I mean,
Right.
almost 5 assists per game, about 5 rebounds per game. She's getting it done on both ends.
I told you we asked a lot out of that kid.
You have.
And we continue to do that. But we're also asking a lot out of all of our kids right now. We have a couple kids logging quite a few minutes, and Kira Duffy is a freshman who's playing the point guard spot for us. JC Bradley, as a sophomore, has come in. She's put in quite a few minutes for us. Madison McKeever's played quite a few minutes for us. And then our 2 senior post kids in Abigail Fogg and Bridget Arns are really playing some very solid minutes for us.
Well, once you get past Allison Arens, J.C. Bradley, Kira Duffy, the scoring output really does drop off. So, how big of a concern is that as you go forward? Are you okay with that kind of balance, or would you like to see things spread out a little bit more?
I think it's ideal if it's spread out more. Why? Because then you become an equal opportunity offense that you can't take one player away. And what we've been seeing in the last couple of games is how teams are trying to scheme to take those 3 perimeter kids out of the lineup for us. Why? How are they doing that? Giving those kids a little more pressure, locking into them on the perimeter. So ideally, we'd like to get to a more balanced attack.
So you're 8 games in. As of right now, if you could identify one thing in terms of improvement, what would it be?
I'd say scoring around the rim right now is really a big area for us. I think even in our last game at Wyoming, we lost in overtime, and we got to the rim quite a few times. We need to be able to convert in some more of those situations.
Got Illinois coming in on Wednesday, San Jose State coming in on Sunday then. So good luck to you. And look forward to this thing each and every week, sitting down with you and talking hoops.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jay.
All right, thanks, Don. Well, stay tuned. As we talked about earlier, Allison Arens is in the midst of a breakout season. And when we come back, we're going to take a closer look at the sophomore success.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Dakota Land Honda, and your Core Trust Bank.
And welcome back. Well, as a freshman, Allison Arens averaged just 8.5 minutes and less than 2 points per game as a backup point guard. But that now seems like a very distant memory. Kelly Stewart has more on Arens' breakout season.
In basketball, there are coined phrases like Dick Vitale's diaper dandy. Another one, sophomore slump. Well, USC's Allison Arens doesn't fit any of these. After seeing sparse court time her freshman year, this Coyote sophomore is statting 21.1 points, 5.1 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 1.5 steals, and 35.6 minutes per game. And a lot of people are wondering, who is this Allison we're seeing?
I've kind of been asking myself that too, but I just say it's a new team, new coaches, a little bit of new everything this year. So we've had a few injuries, and I guess the chance was just kind of there, so I took it, and that's kind of it.
Needless to say, Allison is extremely humble when it comes to talking about her breakout season. A good problem to have. But someone who's happy to talk about the sophomore success, older sister and teammate Bridget Arns.
I played with her 2 years, and I kind of always knew she was capable of stuff like this, Last year she came into a new system, obviously, and was trying to figure it all out. And I think this year she's settled in a lot more and kind of figured out the pace of the game. But I think from playing with her in high school, I think she's always kind of had this ability and had this knack to score around the rim and to defend people one-on-one. And I think her confidence and stuff like that has just reached a new level, and that has helped her do what she's doing right now, I guess.
Essentially, the Arens family is a gold mine of basketball talent. Though Bridget is in her senior year, younger sister Monica recently signed her NLI to play for the Yotes starting next season. But in this family, not all skills are basketball related.
What we learned about Allison when we went to go visit Monica during her home visit is how talented Allison is off the court. So here's a young lady who is a great student athlete, who also is raising her own breed of cattle. She's building her own barn. I don't even know how to do that, but she's doing that. She takes care of the family garden, tells her siblings where to plant what. She's a talented artist. The kid's unbelievable. She made her brother's wedding cake. The list goes on and on and on. So she has so many talents. She's such a spectacular young lady. We're really excited that we have the privilege to coach her.
So if you need some cattle raised, a barn built, a thriving garden, beautiful artwork, a cake baked, or well, perhaps a game-winning play, Allison Arens is your go-to gal. And another little fun fact about Allison, in the 28th minute of the Wyoming game on Sunday, she surpassed the amount of minutes totaled on the court during her freshman season, and they're only 8 games into 2016, Jay.
Very interesting. Thank you, Kelly. Well, lots of home hoops coming up this week for South Dakota, starting with tonight's doubleheader at the SCSC. Women hosting Illinois, while the men are set to take on Montana State. The Sacramento State men will be in Vermillion on Saturday, and then Dawn Plitzwhite and company round things out on Sunday afternoon against San Jose State. All right, that is our time for this week. For Kelly Stewart, I'm Jay Elson. Good night, everybody.